40 million down the drain. Joe Linton scores again. Samina, mina. So, as much as that was quite a positive opening, I am kind of still on a bit of like a kind of bleak outlook. And I know that a lot of people come to this channel for a more positive outlook, and I will be back at that. Like, I will hopefully be back at that. And I know that the last video wasn't as positive as people kind of expect from this channel. And I want to be that. I want to be positive about Newcastle United. That's kind of a large part of the reason why I started this channel. But at the same time, I also have to be honest. And if I'm just blindly positive all the time, it kind of takes away from the positivity. So like, as much as I do want to be positive, the main thing with the channel is I'd want to call a spade a spade. You know, when we were just like scoring left, right and centre, barely conceding any goals, and people were still ruling us out of Champions League football and stuff, that's, you know, that's the sort of stuff why I wanted to start the channel. You know, I wanted to like contribute towards a more positive discussion around Newcastle United. But at times like now, when we're not kind of scoring freely, unless it's against Wolves or Bradford, when we're not scoring freely every week, then, you know, and things are looking a little bit more bleaker than they were before, then I am going to be honest in that kind of moment and talk about that as well, and talk about that from my honest perspective, which is that I'm still not majorly confident about how things are going at the moment. It's not to say that I don't have a positive like kind of medium to long term outlook, I do, but right now things are just looking a little bit bleak still. And that Bradford result, although it was nice to win 4-1 and see some goals and whatever, I'm still not majorly convinced going forward for the short-term future, which is why, unfortunately, for this Arsenal game, this is the first time going into an Arsenal game where I'm a little bit torn, because there's like two sides to it. Every Arsenal game that we've gone into for a long time now, I've felt quite confident because Eddie Howe seems to have Mikel Arteta's number. He seems to have it completely figured out.
It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace. That's what it is, a disgrace.
The thing that, like, if I was going to make a prediction for this game, it would be a very low goal scoring game. Arsenal aren't particularly free scoring away from home. They're averaging over the course of this season so far 0.5 goals per game away from home. Granted, it's a very small pool of fixtures, you know, Premier League games to actually get that statistic from, but they don't look majorly free scoring away from home, as most teams don't. But also, we don't look like we can buy a goal at the moment. So everything points towards a really low goal scoring game again, and probably another, you know, like 1-0, 0-0, something like that. And unfortunately, I think for the first time in the last 3 or 4 years, the first time going into an Arsenal game, I think if either team is going to steal it, I think it's probably going to be Arsenal this time. And I hate to say that. Defensively, we look really sound, and defensively, we look like we are going to make it really hard for Arsenal to score. But also, we have to take into account the fact that Saka is almost definitely back, and Martin Ødegaard also could be back, and that's a lot of their creativity. Like, if they're playing against us, if we're, you know, kind of sat in, not like a low block as such, but if we're sat kind of focusing defensively as we have been, and then they've got Martin Ødegaard, Bukayo Saka, Eze, like, if they've got all these properly top quality players to break that down, I feel like I have more confidence in them breaking down our defence than I have in us breaking down their defence at the moment, because I think the problem that we have is we have Voltemada, who's obviously incredible link-up play. That's kind of like our focal point of our attack. And what we need is wingers running off him. Wingers running off him and creating goal-scoring opportunities through their runs off him, and they don't seem to be doing that. Like, Gordon's he can't seem to hit a barn door at the moment. Harvey Barnes, he doesn't seem to be on great form. Jacob Murphy's really good at playing Voltemada in, but like his actual runs off him aren't particularly that great. And then Elanga's had moments of promise, but he hasn't actually really contributed to much yet. But based off of that, the two things that I've kind of noticed there are the two wingers that are playing the best at the moment are what are both considered to be right wingers. So it's like, oh, well, we have to play one or the other. And I don't think that we do. I think the way that we can actually play this is we could just put Elanga on the left, because I don't think Gordon's done enough to make the left wing spot his this season so far. Barnes hasn't either. And I think Elanga's done more on the right than Gordon and Barnes have done. So for me personally, I would say Murphy on the right, Elanga on the left, because he's right-footed, so he can cut in and shoot anyway, and we know Elanga can play on the left as well. So that personally is how I'd want to see the attack set up against Arsenal, because ultimately I think things need to change. Like, the way that we're attacking just isn't working, it's not clicking, and something needs to click. But I also don't want to just be overly negative, because I do think, as I said, medium to long term, I'm not too worried, because medium to long term, like, Wissa comes back in, and I think Wissa is a striker that's more in the mould of Isak, and I think we're currently very geared to playing towards the way that Isak played as a striker, and I think Wissa will kind of just plug that gap as like a kind of short-term thing whilst we then eventually learn how to play around Voltemada as well. And then I think medium to long term, as I say, we'll have Wissa as an option to play kind of like the Isak way, and then Voltemada as an option to play in a way that is better at breaking down the low blocks, which is something that we've struggled with for a long time. Like, we saw a glimpse of what's going to be potentially capable of happening with Voltemada against Barcelona. Like, that goal against Barcelona was absolutely beautiful from start to finish. Really, really great football right the way through the field. And like, that is a goal that if we're up against low block teams, I know they weren't in a low block at the time, but the intricate passing and the kind of like one-touch football and stuff like that, that is going to be absolutely incredible at breaking down low block teams. Like the link-up play that Voltemada has, where you can just drop it into him. He already knows exactly where he's passing it. And usually a one-touch pass straight out to, Elanga, Murphy, Bruno, Tonali, whoever, and it's straight out, and it doesn't slow the play down at all. It keeps just everything moving really fast. And I think that's going to be a major change in, as I say, like the medium to long term for us to sort of push on to the next level, because we'll be able to break down them low block teams. I think with the setup that we had, where we were just kind of relying on Isak all the time, I think we would have potentially kind of stagnated, because it's just kind of like, there's just kind of one sort of plan A, and there's no real other way of, as we found out, breaking down these low blocks. But for this Arsenal game, the whole kind of breaking down low blocks is kind of irrelevant, because Arsenal are not going to be in a low block. Now, with this video, once again, I'm having to do kind of two videos in one, because I just don't have enough time with like work and stuff between the Bradford game and the Arsenal game to try to get two videos out of a reaction to the Bradford game and a preview to the Arsenal game. So again, it's just kind of being pushed as to two into one. But again, if you do want to see me go more into depth onto these kind of things, then I'm just going to need more time. So make sure you like and subscribe, because as the channel grows, I'm going to be able to find more time to put more time into the videos, into the channel. So make sure you like and subscribe, help the channel grow, and I'm going to be able to provide so much more for you guys. But yes, we do have a reaction. I'm going to put that at the end of the video, the reaction to the Bradford game. So if you are interested in watching the Bradford reaction, watching me react to the goals and stuff, then stick around to the end to watch that. But to get back to the Arsenal game, because I said that I was torn, actually, before I get back to the Arsenal game, I want to quickly shout out the sponsors. So footballprizes.co.uk. It's only just over a week now before the Newcastle United competition, the signed Bruno shirt with the TV built into the screen. It's only just over a week now before the final deadline to get your tickets and to get your entries in for that. So head to the link in the description, and not only can you win a signed Bruno shirt, but you can also win loads of instant wins. There's 147 instant wins where you can win loads of stuff like signed Shearer shirts, signed Cole shirts, £1,000 in cash, all stuff that you can win there and then as you buy the ticket, and it's only 39p a ticket. So you could go on 39p and you could win £1,000. Like, that's crazy. I personally really like the idea of this instant win thing, so I've had to go a couple of times, like just through 10 tickets on like £3.90, same price as like a cup of coffee or something, and I'm just like really excited by the idea that like I could just throw £3.90 at something one morning and I could flip a ticket over and I could have like a signed Shearer shirt. Like, that'd be amazing. So yeah, as I said, only just over a week left to get your entries in. It finishes on the 3rd of October at 7 p.m. So if you're interested, head over to the link in the description, get yourself some entries, and good luck to everyone. I hope to see a lot of my subscribers, viewers. I hope to see you all get loads of instant wins, and hopefully one of you wins the signed Bruno shirt. Now anyway, back to the Arsenal game. So as I said I was torn, and what I mean by being torn is that, because obviously everything that I said before was very negative. It was all very much like, oh, there's not gonna be many goals in the game, we're gonna probably lose. Like, that's kind of the general kind of feeling that I feel everything leading up to this game points towards. Now, the reason why I'm torn is because, as a Newcastle United fan, and all of you will know this, any time that you think you know what's going to happen at Newcastle, it almost definitely always is the complete opposite. Every time everything points towards something, it almost definitely is always the opposite. Because if you look back at like the Barcelona game, everyone thought, oh, it'd just be like exactly like the PSG game. People were paying hundreds of pounds just to, have the chance to go to that game, because they were like, oh, it's just going to be like exactly like the PSG game. It wasn't. Or they were like, it's just going to be exactly like the last time we played Barcelona. It wasn't. Then there was all our massive goal scoring games against Spurs where we'd beaten them like 5-1. I think they'd beaten us 4-1. We'd beaten them 4-0. I think it was like a 6-0. Like, there was all these massive goal-scoring games against Spurs, so everyone thought, oh, I really want to go to the Spurs game because there's going to be loads of goals in that game, and then it was like a 2-1. Like, there's so many of these things that happen over my life, at least, of being a Newcastle fan, where you feel like you know exactly what's going to happen. Everything points towards one thing, and it goes the complete opposite way. So that's why, as much as everything, like, statistically, everything that you look at towards this Newcastle-Arsenal game, everything is pointing towards a low goal-scoring game where realistically it's probably going to be Arsenal that edge it this time. And that's exactly why I probably wouldn't bet against the idea that it's probably going to be a really high goal-scoring game and Newcastle will win. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could just be a majorly unpredictable game, and Newcastle-Arsenal, it is quite a fiery game a lot of the time. You know, Bruno and Joe Linton mega get up for it. So it could be one of them where, as I say, everything points towards one thing and it goes the complete opposite way. Who knows? Basically, I've looked at the stats and I can't predict it. So let me know your predictions. But when I say let me know your predictions, obviously there's going to be a giveaway in the pinned comment, but I will explain a little bit more about that at the end, because first we've got to do the reaction to the Bradford game. So I'm just going to, before I get into anything, I'm just going to roll the tape on that because I spoke enough in the Bradford game about kind of my thoughts on the Bradford game. So roll the tape. Right, I just got sat down watching. I just got back from work. My first thoughts are that I'm really not happy that Bruno is playing because, as I said in the last video, I don't want to see Bruno playing in this game. Like, he wasn't able to play in the Bournemouth game. We didn't play him for like the good last 20-30 minutes. My view of that was like, if he'd have played for them last 20-30 minutes, I think we could have won that game. That's 3 points. There were 2 points thrown away, and now he's playing in this game. I think if anything, we rest him in this game. Like, get the 2 points extra in the Bournemouth game, or at least try and go for them, and then in this game rest Bruno. Like, that's my kind of view of it. I kind of see the side of it that we've been able to rest both players, and so, well, like, Tonali got some minutes, Bruno's got some minutes, so that's kind of one side of it, and I get that. But I'd have rather have seen us go for 3 points against Bournemouth, and then I get that this game could have been a banana skin, and, you know, Bradford are on really good form and we can't underestimate them too much, but I still think without Bruno, we should have still had the ability in the squad with like Joe Linton, Miley, and probably Willock. That should still be enough, really. Although, having said that, who's to say we're even going to win this with this team? Like, I don't know. Is there a better shielder of the ball in the Premier League than Bruno? Joe Linton. Come on. Let's have a check. Has anyone got Joe Linton first goal scorer? Ooh, one guy's got Joe Linton. It's the same guy that won last week. He's got Joe Linton and 2-0. Whoa! 2-0. Asula. Well, if it stays like this, that lad's won Joe Linton 2-0. Well, League of Grimsby in. League 2. League 2. Oh, Tino. Just a bit overweight. Heavy pass. Fucking hell. Oh, man. I started work at 6 a.m. this morning, and I finished work at 7 p.m. It was a long day, so I'm very tired, so I can't string a sentence together. Come on! 3-0. I'm celebrating that goal more, partly because it just saved me 50 quid, but partly because I was just like, it just felt like we weren't able to score again, and it was frustrating me. It felt like a league game again. Samina, hey, waka, hey, 40 million down the drain. Joe Linton scores again. Oh, that was a beautiful little flick from Joe Linton. It was a nice pass from Voltamada. That little flick from Joe Linton to play Bruno through. Fucking hell. Through. To play Bruno through. Let me watch it again. I'm going to see it on the replay. Oh, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. I don't even care that Bruno didn't score. That was so beautiful from Joe Linton. Oh my God. What a fucking goal. Fucking rifled that into the goal. Oh, that's that. I quite like that it was Cook. I feel like we should celebrate that goal. To be able to score a fucking rifle like that at St. James's, like, I'm happy for him. Boyhood fucking Newcastle fan. Geordie, oh mate, like, I'm buzzing for him. I'm buzzing for that goal. Oh, watch Miley get a lot of fucking criticism though. Another one, looking at that Bournemouth game, we rested Bruno and Joe Linton for that game and played Miley and Willock. Like, I might genuinely be convinced here. Like, if someone were to come out and find genuine evidence that Eddie Howe just doesn't want to beat Bournemouth, like, I wouldn't question it. I actually wouldn't question it at this point. Because to drop two midfielders for a Premier League, two of our starting midfielders for a Premier League game, and then putting the two starting midfielders in the cup against Bradford when we have Arsenal at the weekend. Like, I feel like it's the other way around. You put your two starting midfielders and probably your best backup midfielder in the league game, and then you do the cup game the other way around. The cup game should have been the one where we probably had Willock, Miley, and Tonali. Oh, I was trying to check the other scores. What happened? Asula? I need to see the replay now. Baltimore are involved. Barnes. Oh, that's some good sort of like determination there from Asula to get to that. Right, that's it. Through to the next round. We haven't slipped on the banana skin. Honestly, I'd have rather, as I said, swapped round the midfield from the last game. Maybe we'd have came through this game. Maybe it'd have only been 2-1, 3-1 or something like that. I'd have rather come through this game 2-1 and 3-1 and got 3 points in the Bournemouth game. But we're just going to have to take it. 1 point in the Bournemouth game through to the next round. Like, as I said, it's a good point away from home. I'm still very frustrated because I think it was a massive missed opportunity. Now, I know a lot of what I've said in this video has been quite negative, and I'm still very bleak about a lot of things. And I know that we won 4-1 and it's still kind of negative, and it probably shouldn't be negative after winning 4-1. But as I said at the start of the video, I do always want to be positive when I can be with Newcastle United, but I also don't want to lie to you guys. I want to, as I said, call a spade a spade. And at the moment, to me, as I said, things look a little bit bleak, because it's all well and good saying we had really great performances against Barcelona, but we lost. You know, we had a really great performance against Aston Villa, but we drew. We had a really great performance against Bournemouth, but we drew. And like, when I say Aston Villa, you know, on the face of it at the start of the season, that great performance against Aston Villa, you were like, oh, Aston Villa away, that looks amazing. Now, Aston Villa don't particularly look that amazing that we got a draw there, because Aston Villa seem to be having a really, really bad season at the moment. So that looks like 3 points thrown away as well. Bournemouth, as I said during the Bradford game, if we'd have played the midfield that we played against Bradford, against Bournemouth, I think that's, again, a couple points thrown away there as well. You know, again, against Barcelona, I think if Voltemada had started in that game, I think, you know, that could have been a better outcome as well. Like, there's been quite a few occasions this season. I don't want to pile on Eddie Howe because I love the guy. Like, I think he's an absolutely incredible manager. I respect so much about his behaviour, but there's just been like little decisions here and there in almost every game where I just think, like, you know, hindsight is 2020. There's always going to be that idea when you lose that, oh, this could have been differently, that could have been done differently. But there has just been a few things where I've just looked at it like, Eddie, why didn't you do that? And Eddie, why didn't you do this? Like, Eddie, why didn't you start Voltemada against Barcelona? Eddie, why did you put a weak midfield out against Bournemouth, but then put a strong midfield out against Bradford? And I'm just starting to get a bit frustrated with these decisions. It's not that I'm saying Eddie isn't amazing. Eddie is amazing. You know, I love the way that he's handled himself in interviews. I just love basically everything that he's done since he's been at the club, the way that he's coached certain players. Like, there's so much to be grateful for with Eddie Howe. But there's just been a few decisions over the past few weeks that have just really kind of like frustrated me. And I want to make it very clear, this isn't some kind of like false rage or false anger because, you know, I want to get views or anything like that, because my channel, as I've said, people come to my channel for a more positive outlook. My channel doesn't do well when I'm like this. My channel doesn't do well when I'm more negative towards the club, when I'm more frustrated, when I'm more like this. So I'm not doing this because this does well for me. This probably does very badly for me. And to me right now, there's a lot to be positive about in the team. With the midfield and the defense, they look great, but the attack right now is just really, really, really frustrating me every game. Like, we're getting into that final third, and every single time I'm just like, hey, it's just gonna fuck up. I have no faith in the team in that final third. Like, and I think as a Newcastle fan, a team that has been famed, you know, we've had the entertainers, like part of our kind of identity as a club is good entertaining football. You know, we don't just want to play like low block teams. We hated Bruce Ball. So when I feel like I'm being starved of goals and I almost feel like I have no hope of getting goals, like, it is really, really, really kind of like wearing me down. And I know I should be more positive right now because we've just seen 4 goals, but they just don't feel the same when they're against League One opposition. You know, I'm not about to over-celebrate goals against lower league opposition. I'm not about to over-celebrate goals against lower league opposition. It's just a bit shameful. So, like, no disrespect to Bradford, but a lot of them goals, they don't translate to the Premier League. But on the topic of goals scored this weekend, as usual, there is a giveaway on this video. Arsenal this weekend, so get your predictions in as a reply to the pinned comment for the giveaway. First goal scorer prediction as well. As usual, £50 Google Play gift card. Guy that won the first one against Bournemouth was on to win this one against Bradford as well. So I was quite relieved when that third goal went in because it saved me 50 quid. And obviously, we love to see Joe Linton scoring more goals anyway. So yeah, get your predictions in for the giveaway as a reply to the pinned comment. £50 Google Play gift card. Good luck to everyone with the giveaway. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.